and this is gonna be a different type of video than what I usually do. So this video is gonna be a start to a series on this channel. This channel is mainly just random stuff that we want to do or have been doing or have been wanting to do, I guess you can say. So this series is going to be part of my childhood, which is kind of like a story time because they're real stories about my childhood. I don't know if Andrew would do the same thing, but I'm going to be doing mine. So I'm going to start now and I hope you enjoy. So I'm going to start off when I was in daycare. Yes, I do remember it briefly, and some of this memory is from my mother telling me a little bit about it and then me remembering some of it. Okay, so daycare. Starting off with one of the first daycares I've gone to. I've gone to quite a bit just because of how much I moved when I was younger and how much each daycare was not great, and you'll understand once I start explaining this. But I'm at this daycare, which all three of these daycares that I'm daycares / preschool, I actually currently live really close to. So it kind of hits really close to home when I talk about this and makes me wonder if it's still the same way. Anyway, so I went to this daycare called La Petite, and what was interesting about this daycare, which is now closed by the way, that's why I'm able to say the name of the daycare, it wasn't terrible. It was just things here and there, not about the teachers or anything like that, the staff. It was mainly just the kids, which is mostly what's going to be happening in this story. So when I used to go to this daycare, I was literally the only girl. Not quite sure if I want to put that picture in because I do have evidence that I was the only girl. I don't think I'm going to, just because it's privacy for the other people that were in that class. So I was the only girl, and it was not really uncomfortable for me back then because apparently every boy in this daycare was my boyfriend, according to my mom, which is easy to believe considering all of the class was boys except for me, until one day there was a girl that came in and something interesting happened on the first day that she arrived. We were playing house, as little kids do with the house set, and she came with two boys over to me and we went into a corner isolated from the teachers and all the rest of the kids, and she convinced us all to try and show our privates to each other. Kids are pretty innocent, and I remember being very uncomfortable with this, not wanting to do it, not wanting to see anything. The boys started showing theirs and they counted before they showed it. So before they showed it, I would look away before they could show me anything, which yeah, I wasn't very comfortable with the boys' anatomy for a very long time in my life. Eventually, the teacher caught us and talked to our parents. I remember explaining to my mom that I didn't look or I didn't show, but they convinced me to. And I'm not the type of person, which I've learned throughout the years, even when I was in daycare, I'm not the type of person to say no or chicken out. I'll do it, but I'll have a lot of nervousness when I do it. I mean, I've come to the habit where I don't like disappointing people, And if I say no, I feel as if I am. So I agreed to do a lot of things I probably shouldn't have when I was younger. But yeah, so that daycare was strange. I remember like little dumb stuff like me taking a nap and then having an accident and then going into the bathroom and having to change, and it's just interesting little things that I remember. And like, why do I remember that? I mean, I guess it was like a pretty bad accident, but like, I don't know why that's in my mind. Anyway, now we will go on to the next daycare. I believe this is after the daycare I just told you about. This daycare is very, very close to where I live right now. Actually, it's across the street from me. And I did get footage of this not too long ago, so I'll put that right now. So this is actually the daycare that I was talking about. It's still in like business, and I mean, you can kind of see it. I feel kind of creepy recording these kids though. But anyway, that is my old, oh my god, daycare. This daycare was probably one of the more interesting ones that I've been to, I guess you can say. And it was full of a lot of different races, mostly Hispanic. And I don't know Hispanic culture or individual culture. Not even at the time, I wasn't familiar with it. But I wasn't, and still not, racist. So I tried making friends as much as I could, but these children were more intimate with the same race. So Hispanics would just tend to be in a group with each other and not wanting to be friends with anyone else. So they liked to watch scary things. When I was in this daycare, I would come in the morning and they'd be watching Goosebumps, and they would actually challenge their friends to play Bloody Mary in the bathroom, which was really uncomfortable because they would challenge the little white kids like me to do it. I was never challenged. I was too quiet. People thought I was invisible because I wanted it to seem like that. I was the only one to say no to watch Goosebumps, and when everyone else raised their hand, I was forced to watch it, and it would give me nightmares at night. This was not the time where I was just like, oh, I love ghosts, I love scary things, because I mean, now it was obviously different, but back then it was not like that. And I was scared that they were gonna make me do Bloody Mary in the bathroom, which is strange because the teachers didn't say anything about it, even though they were in the same room while they were doing the Bloody Mary challenges and watching Goosebumps. I mean, kids in daycare, they do need to be careful because parents can come around, like my mom did, and go to the daycare and say, hey, you shouldn't be showing kids this young scary things, even when they say no. Even if there's one kid that says, I don't want to watch it, that should be the sign where you're like, okay, well, maybe if one kid doesn't want to watch it, maybe let's just watch something else. But it was never the case, and I ended up having so many nightmares that night. So there was also a lot of good friends in that daycare. I'm not gonna lie and just say all of it was bad, because it wasn't. There was a really fun indoor gymnasium, and it was just really fun to play around, hang out with my friends. I mean, yeah, there was Hispanic kids kissing in the playground, full on making out while we were on the playground. And that culture, from what I experienced, made me think that it was normal for kids to be doing that, which now I know from working at an elementary elementary school that it's not. And it shouldn't be normal or normalized as a culture. I mean, it makes sense now because that daycare is no longer in business and someone else took over that daycare. So, and it's literally just called daycare, nothing really that special. And that is the second daycare. Now I'm going to get into preschool, and this is the only preschool I have any stories from. And I'm going to say the name just because of the way they tried to professionally handle the situation that went on while I was at Sunrise Preschool. So at Sunrise Preschool, there was a boy not much older than the rest of the group that did have I don't want to say this to offend anyone, but it was a mental disorder. And I don't know what he had, and I'm not going to make any guesses to what he had, but I do know that he was not like the rest of us. And like I said, I'm not trying to say this in a way to offend anyone or say that I hated him. The main thing that I'm going to be explaining here is that all the kids in this preschool that would be in the same class as this boy would be afraid of him. We would play this game where if he's on one side of the room, we would run to the other, because he wasn't the type of boy to be it's really hard to explain, but I'll try to explain it to the best of my ability to help the story go along. He liked to play with the other kids, but the other kids did not like to play with him just because of how aggressive he was when he played. So for how many times he aggressively touched or pushed someone, we would eventually become afraid of him, and it wasn't a game after a while, it was out of fear. We would always run away from him, and he would just increasingly get more and more upset. The staff really didn't think anything of this, which, I mean, yet again, now that I work in an elementary school, it's kind of obvious to know what's going on when you see pure fear in children, because I remember feeling pure fear. There was this one day where we were doing this, I guess I can call it still a game, even though it's not a game. I just established that. He was on this side of the room, and the kids were on this side of the room. I got distracted by a kid with a Pokemon card or a baseball card, something that has to do with the card. That's all I remember. And they started switching sides, and I forgot what the game was. And he realized that I was just standing there. And I don't really know what happened, but I do remember the amount of pain that I was in. So he realized I was there, and I looked up at the kid that was showing me the card. He looked up behind me with fear, and before I can turn around to see what was going on, this kid literally pushed me to the ground so hard that I thought my head was bleeding and I had a concussion. And these are the floors that are like gym floors. We were in like a gym. So it was tile, and my head banged on the tile so hard my ears were ringing. And what's interesting about this is I got pushed right in front of a staff's desk, and you can hear my head being hit across the room. She didn't even look up to see what was going on. I started crying, obviously. And the boy, I don't remember anything else with the boy. I think he just walked away. The staff didn't do anything, and they're just like, we can't do anything about it. So when my mom came to come and pick me up, I explained to her what happened, and she was pissed. She explained to them what happened, and they're just like, well, we can't really do anything about it. He has this kind of disorder. He has paperwork from the doctor. I mean, this is what he does. I understand there are things that kids with this kind of disability do and why they do it, but it doesn't excuse the fact that I was hurt. And I was not only hurt, I was really hurt. And what happens to the kids that get hurt from these disorders? Like, are they the victim or always the bad guy? I mean, there's no war to win there. So, or there's just nothing to win there. Even if you're hurt by someone with a disability, there's nothing you can really do about it, which sucked because that's what ended up happening. Nothing bad happened to him. I mean, we didn't wish any ill will with him, but we wanted some sort of victory, I guess you can say. My mom wanted to pull me out, so the next day I went in and his mom was there and we were watching a movie and she was just following him around the rest of the day. But after that, I didn't go back. My mom was too frustrated with Sunrise to go back. So that's it. That's daycare through preschool. Not the greatest times. I don't know why, but my childhood tends to make me remember the not so great things rather than the really great things. But I don't know. I try to include that as much as I can. So I'm gonna let you guys go because I know this is gonna be a long video. And I will see you in the next one where I tell another story time. So, bye guys.